Nanny McPhee and the Big Bang by Emma Thompson. Adapted by Fiona Bedell. Track 1. Meet the people in Nanny McPhee and the Big Bang. Nanny McPhee loves children. Some children need her but don't want her. She must stay with those children and help them. Then she has to go. Norman, Megsy, and Vincent Green live on a farm. Their father is fighting in the war. Cyril and Celia live in London. They are very rich. Their mother is Mrs. Green's sister. Mrs. Green is Norman, Megsy, and Vincent's mother. Before the war, she loved living on a farm. Now everything is different. She needs more time and more money. Phil doesn't like farms, and he doesn't like working. His brother is the father of Norman, Megsy, and Vincent. The pigs live on the farm. They are the Greens' favorite animals. Before you read, Cyril and Celia are going to live on the Greens' farm. Are they going to be happy there? What do you think? Track 3. Nanny McPhee and the Big Bang. Chapter 1. Cyril and Celia. "Wash everything on the farm this afternoon, please," said Mrs. Green to her children. "My sister's children from London are going to be here tomorrow." Norman, Megsy, and Vincent didn't know the children from London. They didn't want them at their farm. "Why do they have to come here?" asked Vincent. He was the youngest. "Because there are a lot of bombs in London," answered Mrs. Green. "It's too dangerous there." Mrs. Green went to work. The children started washing everything. Suddenly, they saw a big car. "Oh no! They're here today, not tomorrow," said Megsy angrily. The children in the car were angry too. They didn't want to live on the farm. Their names were Cyril and Celia. "Look at all the mud. This farm is horrible," Cyril said to Celia. He got out of the car. "Hello, farm children," he said. "Do you like washing in mud?" Cyril's sister didn't want to get out of the car. "I'm wearing my new shoes," she said. "I can't walk in that mud." Blenkinsop worked for Cyril and Celia's mother. He had to take the car home to London. "You have to get out, Celia," he said. "No!" shouted Celia. She started fighting with Blenkinsop. "Please, Blenkinsop, take us home!" she shouted. "Yes, take them home, Blenkinsop," said Norman. "They're horrible." Cyril and Norman started fighting in the mud. The children went into the house. "Oh, good jam," said Cyril. "We made it for our father," said Megsy. "His name's Rory Green, and he's fighting in the war. He's going to eat it when he comes home. No, I'm going to eat it now, said Cyril. Norman wanted to take the jam from Cyril. Cyril wanted to eat the jam. Soon it fell on the floor and broke. Norman, Meggsy, and Vincent were very angry. They started fighting with Cyril and Celia. Mrs. Green walked home after work. She was very tired. She didn't like the war. She wanted Rory at home with her and the children. She saw Phil. Phil was Rory's brother. The farm was Phil's and Rory's, but Phil didn't do any work there. He didn't want the farm. He only wanted money. The farmer wants to buy our farm, said Phil. We have to talk to him. No, the farm is my children's home, Phil, said Mrs. Green. But you need money. Yes, I do, but it's okay. Farmer McCready is going to buy our baby pigs. Mrs. Green walked into the house. Hello, Norman, she said. I can't talk now, Mom. I'm fighting Cyril and Celia. Stop that, Norman. Hello, Cyril and Celia. Cyril and Celia didn't talk to Mrs. Green. They only wanted to fight. Track 4. Chapter 2. Pig Problems. A woman came to the door. She was in black. She had a long stick and a horrible face. I'm Nanny McPhee, she said. I'm here because you need me. Stop fighting, children, said Nanny McPhee. The children didn't listen. Nanny McPhee moved her stick, and suddenly the children stopped fighting. There were only 3 beds in the children's room. Cyril can go in Norman's bed, and Celia can go in Meggsy's bed, said Nanny McPhee. I don't want to be in a bed with Cyril. Pigs are nicer than Cyril, said Norman. All animals are nicer than Celia, said Meggsy. Nanny McPhee moved her stick. Soon there were farm animals in the bedroom. Now you can have animals in your beds too. Good night, said Nanny McPhee. That night, Phil went into the pig house. No one saw him. Next morning, Norman started work on the farm, but there was a problem. A big problem. The baby pigs aren't here, he shouted. And Farmer McCready is coming for them at 12 o'clock. Quick! We have to find them! Norman, Meggsy, and Vincent looked everywhere for the pigs. Soon Cyril and Celia helped too. Norman worked with Cyril. Hey, we've got a pig! The boys shouted. Meggsy worked with Celia. We've got a pig too! The girls shouted. Then Nanny McPhee moved her stick. Suddenly, Norman and Cyril's pigs started flying. Meggsy and Celia's pigs started swimming. They're funny, laughed the children. Now they were friends. Phil met Farmer McCready on the road. "No one can find the pigs," said Phil. "You can't buy them now. You can go home." "No, no," Farmer McCready said. "I must look for the pigs with Mrs. Green." At the Greens' farm, Farmer McCready saw 5 tired children and 7 baby pigs. "We've got them!" they said happily. "Great!" said Farmer McCready. "Here's 20 pounds for them." "Oh no," thought Phil. "I need a better idea." Track 5. Chapter 3. A Yellow Letter and a Big Bang. The next day, Mrs. Green said to her children, "Let's buy something nice to eat." They ate outside with some friends. It was great. Then Phil came with a letter. "It's from Dad," said Vincent. "No, it's a yellow letter," said Norman slowly. "It's from the army." Mrs. Green opened the letter. It said, "We are very sorry. Mr. Green is dead." "I'm sorry that he's dead," Cyril said to Norman. "He's not dead," said Norman. "How do you know?" "I can feel it." "My father's in the army in London," said Cyril. "Maybe you can ask him about your father." Cyril and Norman went to London with Nanny McPhee. In London, Cyril's father looked in a book. It had the names of everyone in the army. "Here's Mr. Green's name," said Cyril's father. "Mr. Green isn't dead." At the farm, Mrs. Green was with Phil. "This was Rory's farm. I don't want to live here now," she said sadly. "Write your name on these papers," said Phil. "Then you can have lots of money for the farm." Mrs. Green started writing her name. Suddenly, Norman and Cyril ran into the room. "Stop!" shouted Norman. "Dad's not dead." "The letter was from Phil," said Cyril. "Phil moved the baby pigs too." Suddenly there was a bang. There was a bomb at the farm. The children ran to it. "Watch out!" shouted Cyril. "There's going to be a bigger bang. 10, 9, 8. Megsie looked at the bomb. "How can I stop it?" she said. Everyone shouted their ideas. Megsie tried, but it wasn't easy. "I can't do it," she shouted. 5, 4, 3. "Come down, Megsie," Mrs. Green shouted. Nanny McPhee moved her stick to help Megsie. "There," said Megsie. "The bomb isn't dangerous now." The farm was okay. Mrs. Green and the children were okay too. They didn't need Nanny McPhee now. "Look, Nanny McPhee is going," said Vincent. Mrs. Green and the children ran after her. "Come back!" they shouted. "We need you." Suddenly, Mrs. Green saw a man with Nanny McPhee. A man in green and brown army trousers. She stopped running. "No, we don't need her," she said. Vincent saw the man too. "It's Dad!" he shouted. "Dad's home from the war." The end. Track 6. Real world. Living on a farm. A lot of our food comes from farms. We talked to some children about living on a farm. When I'm not at school, I take food to the cows. It's great. The cows are a lot of work for my dad. He has to milk them at 5 o'clock in the morning and again in the evening. He never goes away from the farm for a night because of the cows. How does Kylie help on the farm? Would you like to live on a farm? Why? Why not? I help with the hens on our farm. I give them their food every day. Sometimes I wash the hen house too. I love the animals on our farm, but sometimes it's too quiet. We don't live near the cinema or big shops. What doesn't Mia like about living on a farm? My mom and dad have a fruit farm. From June to September, people come here and pick the fruit. I pick it too. If people buy my fruit at our shop, I can have some of the money. When do people pick the fruit?